Yahoo group.
It's on the Skype group.
Okay.
The Skype group, and it's just a few sentences. And what it's saying, again, it's reiterating that the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence are treaties, and therefore they should be honored before everything else. The Declaration of Independence and the United States of America Constitution, with its valid amendments and statutes, and the American states' constitutions are universally accepted, declared American treaties, and treaties in their nature are declared to be supreme law of the land. So it is therefore an obligation of all courts, be they domestic or foreign, to honor these treaties first and foremost in any judicial action. That's interesting, the courts, whether domestic or foreign, because it's on both sides. Have to honor their treaties. They also gave a link to an Inspector General's site, to Justice Inspector General. Let me move this way. Officer of the Inspector General for the U.S. Department of Justice. Now you can make an online report at this link. It's just well, it's a Skype. It's the link is in the Skype group, but I can read it here. OIG. What?
Yeah.
OIG.
How come you didn't put the Articles of Confederation in here too? We ought to say that one.
Well, he said recently that basically the articles had their faults, and so they had to be replaced. Before, he hadn't been saying that they were replaced, but that the Constitution was sort of it
was accepted as a prior treaty when the Constitution was passed. That all prior, articles and treaties.
Okay. Yes. Yes, if the Constitution was a treaty, then that itself was a treaty too. But the main fault of it is that under the Confederation, you couldn't get any agreement unless it was unanimous. Okay. And then the last document that he put out.
We have the right to travel in that one.
Right. So the other one. I don't know whether this is something that Patrick wrote or he got from somebody else. It has an insolvency with an 800 number on it. And when trying to bring a complaint to the IRS, I was given the above. The phone number is standard, but the word is not. This is who you are looking for, the Advisory Group Manager or the Advisory Insolvency Quality Office, AIQ, and he's mentioned before. Located in the IRS division of your state capital. This is per IRS Form 56F, and this office is also known as the Bad Thief and will not be seen after your resurrection as a foreign grantor trust. Rather, this person is a pawner in the pawning contracts, and he is your debtor as if you were the grantor. Therefore, he is insolvent.
I don't see anything on here about the IRS thing that you just spoke of on the Skype group.
Okay, it's not that is that's posted in Yahoo, and it is a link that he has a file. He posted.
I got that document several years back. Okay, when I went up to the IRS and claimed insolvency at the desk, and the clerk at the IRS, and I said, well, I was insolvent. Basically, I was trying to set off the bill there, and she gave me that and the phone number to call. It's on there, that 1-800 number. Well, basically, when you read the thing, basically, we are insolvent. Okay, we owe no taxes. Okay,
right.
And this is all about a trust.
Okay.
And see, we give up the beneficiary, we destroy basically that trust, these constructive trust. Go into Valentine's dictionary. go from constitution, the last constitution, the next one is a constraint, and then you start into construction, constructive, and then or construction, and then constructive. Okay? Read all those definitions. See, this is all about a constructive trust. They constructed. They can't create anything. They can only construct something with building blocks. So like the Legos out there. That's all this is. They can only put a couple things together, and then basically try. It's a con game. Okay?
Got that right.
Yeah. It's all a con game. Construction. Even the Constitution was, they put it together. They were building a government. They were constructing a government. That was a valid, lawful building, government building, to construct that. But these others are constructive trust, which are basically built upon fraud. Constructive fraud is basically a legal fraud. Or in my term, all fraud is illegal. But see, they operate under these constructive items, like a constructive warrant or whatever out here, getting us to basically believe that that's a valid building, a valid construction. We can come in and destroy those things and take them into total destruction by renouncing being the beneficiary of those constructive sites, those constructive trust.
Right, because they're subverting our nation and the Constitution, and they're in violation of the 14th Amendment article, or not article, but sentence 3.
Section 3 and Section 4.
Basically, Section 3 and Section 4, okay? And then basically, also, we have the right to expatriate, okay, to basically destroy this foreign construction per the statute at large, Volume 15, Chapter 249, that was signed the night before. We can destroy that construction, that constructive charitable trust created. They made it a charitable trust so that they did not have to pay taxes upon their profits. 501c3 or 501s or whatever claim of charity.
Yeah.
Now, we sent, they got my item in, and they got one of the other guys in, and Tom's in on Monday. Now.
And Ray sent his in the next day.
We don't know whether, you haven't heard anything, Tom?
No, I haven't heard anything, and Ray sent his in the next day.
You're going to have to turn around and file a charge into the Justice Department Inspector General.
Okay. That's the link you gave us.
Yes. We did this before. Harold and I did it with the Social Security Inspector General when we came in and claimed the fraud that was taking place against, he was taking out taxes, and mine was basically denying or delaying the payment of the Social Security that I had coming due. And basically when we put that into them, basically those Inspector Generals came forward and basically got the people to act immediately. That Inspector General for the Justice Department is over the U.S. Marshals, is over the U.S. Attorneys, and also over the courts. Okay? You have 3 trustees in this country. The Treasury Department, the Justice Department, and the Post office. Okay? They're the big three trustees out here. The post office is the de jure banking system of the country. That is where we're going to get our debiting card from, is from the post office. Not from the postal office, but from the post office. Because that's the banking system of the country. When we get out of this item. The post office has been around here way back, all the way back into the Roman times and everything else. Like, that's where the money gets transferred lawfully around. All this other stuff is basically in fraud out here. All these charitable trusts and all these licenses. Now, we also had I'm putting the package together, and basically if I don't hear anything tomorrow, that'll be after 36 hours. I'm putting this package into the court, the federal district court, but it's going in as a $46 miscellaneous filing into the court. The green jacket filing that we tried to do years ago. And putting all my known items in, and then also claiming all my unknown constructive charitable trust into the play. I'm going to send a copy of that to the master into the court, a copy to the U.S. attorney, a copy to the U.S. marshals, and a copy to the inspector general. Now, if they don't comply, basically now they are basically condoning the insurrection against this country. They've been notified. We will destroy them down the road.
You said U.S. Attorney, U.S. Marshal, and the Inspector General. Is that what you said? I think it's the third one.
The Justice Department Inspector General.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Okay. That's what I thought. Yeah.
There's a lot of Inspector Generals out there. There's a Post Office Inspector. Basically, there's a Treasury Inspector General. There's an IRS Inspector General. There's Social Security Inspector General.
You really meant like 30, not instead of 36 hours, you meant 72 hours, right?
No, I meant, 24.
Right.
72 hours, yeah.
Okay, no.
I sent the one into the Inspector General after 48 hours, and I hadn't heard anything.
Right.
So I'm hoping that basically they get in touch with that U.S. attorney, and I hear something in the morning from them.
I knew what you meant. No big deal. I was just helping you.
But, yeah, go in and look in Ballantyne's dictionary. You go right from construction, okay, the last...
Constitution to construction to construct.
And then you go into constraint, and basically what are they doing? They're constraining us in the process. Then you go into construct, and then constructive, or construction, and basically constructive. And all these is a big con game, okay? And they constructed a mortmain executor person, a con man, a constructive man. They didn't create him, they constructed him. In fraud, in their constructive fraud system. And all we have to do is come in and destroy them by destruction, the wrecking, tearing down, breaking up, or burning up of something. I get a kick out of so many of these other sites, these people running around still arguing the different thing about usufruct and all this other stuff going about, and basically they have no idea. They don't mention anything, and they don't. One site had them addressing the 14th Amendment, but basically what they had up there was totally wrong in their understanding. They had no idea about what all it's really saying.
Yeah, they're allowing the foreigners to come over here and commit fraud, and you're saying, "Oh, just throw a bone to me."
Yeah, and basically, I mean, they still want to play in the system, okay? Yeah. In their process. And basically, they think that basically everything out here, oh, it's one big trust, and basically we got to all operate in this universal trust or whatever. No, that ain't the way the game is played. The trusts are a con game, a constructive con game.
Right, they're wimping out. They're being patsies.
Yeah, well, basically they want to listen to all this other garbage, like what Boris puts out, and he's totally wrong. He may get some remedy, but basically he is not getting out of the system.
Being a peacenik. Communists like peaceniks.
And basically from several of the people that we knew that basically tried to use some of his stuff, that never worked. They still ended up losing their houses and everything.
Yep.
But when you turn these in to the damn courts, and basically you refuse to be the beneficiary any longer, you're the owner, you're the grantor, you were the creator of it to begin with. You created the letters of credit. Destruction of subject matter, the destruction of a thing, the continued existence of which is essential to the performance of a contract. But you can destroy the trust. You own the thing. You haven't destroyed the actual owning of the item. You've destroyed all the other fraud that has been constructed around it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like all that American jurisprudence basically is a constructive law, set of law books for the Bar Association. Just like all the damn codes of law. They're constructive laws for their benefit. Just like a slot machine, they construct it so that they win. All the games, they've been constructed so that they win, not you. So that's what's taking place right now, okay? You have to get these things in and see how far it goes, and basically just, it's like you're cooking something on the stove, okay? You don't just pour it into the pot and turn the heat on and then walk away. You have to stir the pot every once in a while so it doesn't burn on the bottom of the pot. So you keep after it. We're on the target. We just have to keep stirring the pot until basically it is done. We're there. I tell you, people, we are there.
Right.
When you understand the real laws that are out here. And don't stop believing half this other garbage and bullshit out here that people are misconstruing and wanting to stay under trust. Trust are a thing, a creation, or a construction of England. It's constructive fraud. That's all that trusts are. They're trust. It's well documented all throughout the Bible. You never trust somebody else with your gold. Because they will end up saying, well, you're not coming back, and they will end up spending it, and then think, well, if you do come back, I'll be able to replace it before you come back. No, it won't. You'll have completely lost it. And that's the con game in this process. They get you to handing over the item to them instead of basically putting a stop to, like a loan, and basically signing it over right then and there. Here, I'm giving you the letter of credit. It's fully paid for right now. You take the credits out of there. You go to the Treasury and get the credits. We are the source of all that is out here. They have no money. They have to come to us, the living, the creators of anything, to be able to exist, just like in the vampire movies. We got the blood. They have to come to us to suck it out. Because without the blood, the vampires die. I don't know how more obvious those damn vampire movies can be than that. Okay, any questions, comments, rebuttals?
No, we're to quit.
Hey, Patrick, I got a comment. I was listening to the February 14th conference call, and when you mentioned dead vessels being the devil, it really clicked. I didn't hear you say it when I was on the call or whatever. It just didn't register, but it really registered today, you know, listening to that. I listened to that call that date twice. And
yeah, devil is two words. D-E and then V-I-L. Dead vessels.
Yeah.
Or dead vessels.
Yeah.
That's the devil.
It's an assembly of
just like
syllables from
all
two
the way
words.
back to the beginning in the Bible. What did Eve do? Okay? She went to the tree of knowledge, but what did she take? She just took the fruit of the tree. She didn't get the understanding of what the tree was all about. Just like most everybody went and got the frying pan or the toaster or whatever down at the local bank to sign up with a damn checking or savings account.
Yeah.
Not knowing that basically they were going to get destroyed down the road.
Yep.
That the bank was taking their deposits putting them off to the side, and then placing liens against them by your signature, drawing credits from the Federal Reserve Bank to make payments for your checks, but still holding your real substance in a reserve account there at the bank.
And they
in
knew
a trust reserve.
They knew their system doesn't work because they never created the money other than the principal that they've already extracted, but there's no way to pay the interest on it, and they already got paid.
Yes,
no way
they
to
have to pay back the Federal Reserve Bank for what they borrowed with interest.
Yeah. And that's the musical chair game. It just doesn't work.
Yes,
it doesn't survive
part
the
of
test
the
of
game.
time.
But we had the other side to where we could have set it off right from the get-go.
Yeah.
But we gave up on basically the post office system being our de jure bank out here. They got us to walk away from the de jure bank and go over to all these other fraudulent banks. Every town's got a post office in it. We didn't need these other banks. We just had to know how to operate the post office bank. All three of those items, those trustees, are all banking trustees. The Justice Department is the just exchangement trustee. The Secretary of the Treasury is basically the keeper of the Treasury. And then the Postmaster General is basically the distributor of the assets. It couldn't be any more simply constructed than that. But yet everybody comes in with all this garbage that has been perpetrated coming out of England in their damn word game and everything else. Because the people fully don't understand what the words actually mean and what they're saying. And how you've been conned into all this misconception out here. The language of Babel, coming out of the Babylonian Empire, the she-devil of all she-devils, England, the whore of Babylon. Where they took and constructed three words into one and came up with a new meaning for that word. Just like I said, American is three words. I said this numerous times, so I'm not going to repeat it again. Just like the devil is two words. You have to see and really read between the lines. But you have to know where to draw the line in the sand, just like Jesus did.
When you mentioned the post office, did you mean the Postmaster General, the Secretary, or the Inspector General of the Post Office? You said something about...
The Postmaster General is the third trustee. He is the distributing asset trustee.
Yeah. Distributing, right.
The Justice Department is basically the just exchangement trustee, and the Treasury is basically the storage of the assets, the American assets. This was never supposed to be a debtor's country. That's what they set up when they brought in and constructed this new government under a charter. And in all construction, you have to have a charter. In all banks, you have to have a charter. Okay? The United States, that was created under, or constructed under the Constitution, was a bank, the National Bank. But the government couldn't, the people in the government could not release the funds. It had to be the people, because the treasury of the country belongs to the people. It don't belong to the government. The government was to use the tariff taxes coming into the country for their operating expenses, and then put the residue, the rest of it, into the treasury. They weren't supposed to go out here and start doing all this other bullshit that they're out here doing. They're constantly borrowing from us to go and fight shit for England or these other monarchy banking or establishments out here, the devils, the debt vessels out here. None of these other bankers have any of their own money. The people that set up the Federal Reserve never put all the funds up that they were supposed to put up to establish the Federal Reserve Bank. The same thing happened back in the first national bank. They never put up all the funds that they were supposed to have on deposit when they set up that first national bank. These damn constructive bankers are total frauds. And then they turn around and use our assets against us. And we just hand them over to them right and left. But we can come in and destroy their trust, their constructive trust, and they're out to lunch. They've lost out. To destroy. But a thing may lose its value without being destroyed, as where a hotel or inn in a country is taken out of the mainstream of traffic by a relocation of a highway. We destroy these damn fraudulent banks by rerouting our access to our funds, to our inheritance.
That seems like a key statement.
Anybody have any questions on those documents I put up about the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment and about the violations by the government officials? You can use those as handouts. You don't need to make them all your own. You don't need to sign them or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like if it would be smart for them to comply with our wishes or our instructions, because if they don't, then, like you said, then they should go to jail. You know, they got way more to lose. You know, their whole pie's gone if this word gets out.
Then they will be basically when you go into and read all the different definitions under constructive, okay, you'll find that basically under it talks about that they try and operate under their constructive fraud out here, protecting themselves from being liable in any action. But when you start seeing basically what's going on, and you come in and you destroy the trust by renouncing being the beneficiary of that trust, you're still the owner of that trust. You're the grantor. All the assets of that trust really belong to you. But you destroy the trust when you basically renounce being the beneficiary.
Can you repeat that?
You destroy the trust, these constructive charitable trusts that they have out here, like for the driver's license, for the certificate of title to your vehicle, your whatever, okay? Your Social Security account, your Medicare account. They're all constructive charitable trust. When you revoke or disavow being the beneficiary of those trusts, the trust is now destroyed. And all the assets go back to the owner or to the grantor. He's the only lawful person in that trust. The executor, or your mortmain, is a constructive person, a con person. They constructed him, but they constructed him ass backwards. Last name first, then first name, then middle name, if you got a middle name. They constructed him as a mortmain, a dead man's account, so that you could not directly access it. And then they took it offshore and buried it down in the Caribbean or wherever else they wanted to hide him away. See, the states can get away with some of these mortmain accounts within the states because the federal statutory law against mortmain accounts only applies to the federal government. They didn't address that statute as like they did with bills of attainder in the Constitution, saying that no state could write a bill of attainder. They didn't say that the states couldn't do mortmain accounts. So the states do have the mortmain accounts, like for the vehicle, for like the certificate of title to the house, like the marriage licenses. They're holding them at the state bank or the state insurance banking division, and that's why all states have a comptroller in the state.
Yeah, and the bill of attainder clause is violated all the time because that means they charge you with something without an injured person or damaged property.
Right, because they have you operating under foreign jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
And see, once you get into being a foreign beneficiary, you have just succumbed to their controls, and now those statutes, a lot of those statutes no longer apply to you, and they're operating under their codes of law. They're colorable laws. Laws of fraud.
That's seditious and subversive.
And that's why you have to come in under that statute at large, volume 15, section 249, and do a disavowing being that foreign beneficiary.
Right. And revoke it.
Well, disavow means revoke.
Yeah. I'll look up that word too.
I've had all this stuff out here for years talking about this, especially that 249, okay?
Yeah, I know.
For years. I'm the only one that's basically ever talked about that out here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm the only one that basically is reading the 14th Amendment and understanding what it's really saying, not like all these other guys that are putting it out here. Well, that's under the Lieber Code, and basically that's all. We're under military martial law, and we're under this, and we're under that. Totally not understanding what the damn thing says at all.
Right,
Not
that's
only
why I
that-
said that we should print that out, know it, but hand it out. It's a real good handout for people to get woke up or
Yes,
start
those
running the
documents
bases.
that I rewrote and basically added additional clarification to them.
Yeah.
Highlighted certain things within the document. Double jeopardy, basically, out here. That basically they're getting you into double jeopardy. You've already paid for it once when you gave your release of credits. When you released yourself out of the hospital, when you gave your signature over to them, to the bank, for the loan. You released the credits. Now they're turning around and trying to get you under double jeopardy in the process. That's the only way you can destroy that is by destroying the beneficiary. Everything out here is done by trust. There is no mortgages per se. The mortgages are really, in a sense, a constructive charitable trust that is giving them a beneficial ownership in the process. That they're a fraudulent fiduciary beneficiary. When they were really supposed to be only the trustee of that trust. But they wouldn't settle for just having trustee fees. They wanted more. They're greedy little shitheads. And this is nothing new, okay? They were like that in Jesus' time. They were like that in Daniel's time. They were like that in Moses' time. They were like that in Abraham's time. These damn temple priests and basically the bankers and everything else have been like that. The government officials have always been like that. Well, the people ain't checking up on us so we can get away with this. I'll be out of office before they find out about what the hell happened. Yeah, the people are so damn dumb. Basically, we can pull the wool over their eyes any day of the week. Just ask Hillary. That's her mentality. And then all these other gurus out here that basically they want to badmouth every one of our founding fathers out here in this whole damn process. They never say anything about Alexander Hamilton. Basically, one of the biggest traitors to the country when he set up the Department of the Treasury so that they could operate with a foreign private banking consortium. And then the people just go right along listening to these other nitwits out here. Gurus. Enough said about that shit. Okay, any questions, comments? I don't know how many of you people got your stuff out in the mail or not on Monday like you were supposed to, but basically you start peppering these guys, and then basically we'll go to the next step and we'll stir the pot. We'll add a few more carrots and tomatoes and whatever into our stew, and we'll stir it a little more.
Good.
We're not ready for the feast, okay? So we're right there. We know what we need to do. At least I do.
All right.
You have to be ready for the wedding feast, okay? You show up the door without the proper clothing and everything, and you're going to be just like the parable that Jesus talked about the guy showing up to the wedding feast not properly dressed, running around with his plate expecting everybody to fill it up for him, but he hadn't done anything. He didn't even come properly dressed. He ended up getting tied up and thrown out in the back alley. If you don't put the time in, you're not going to get the reward. And I tried to make it as simple a recipe as possible.
It really is.
In the process. I've told people before, and I think that Harold and I were the only two that basically ever did go to the Social Security Inspector General and put a claim of fraud into them and got remedy out of the damn Social Security Administration. Every one of those inspector generals out there has on their site about fraud and about identity theft. And they have stolen our identity to construct this executor, con person, ex-con, foreign ex-con, monomain person. They stole our identity. and then try and claim that that's us, that we're the executor of that trust. We were never supposed to be the executor. We were never supposed to be the trustee of the trust. We were supposed to be the beneficiary, but we were supposed to be the lawful beneficiary in the process, but they replaced the lawful beneficiary with a beneficial owner in the trust, an illegal owner, under their fraudulent certificates out here. I'm hoping you guys are starting to wake up and seeing how this game is actually played. You have to reverse engineer these damn sites, just like in the movie Paycheck. Reverse engineering. Reverse construction. Tear it down. See how it was built. Then you can build something better. Remove all the bad parts out of the thing. Okay, anybody have any questions, comments?
I believe that everybody's going to have to learn the difference between the thing and themselves. Okay? Sometimes when they speak, not anyone here, but sometimes when people speak in general, they're talking about a thing. They're not talking about themselves. So there needs to be a distinction between the two. And I have a comment. Has anybody? Because I believe you put something out there on the Judicature Act.
On the what?
The Judicature Act of 1873, amended in 1875?
No.
Well, basically, I'm just going to read real quickly. When there's a conflict between the rules of equity and the rules of common law over the same subject matter, the rules of equity shall always prevail.
Now, that goes way back, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really nothing really per se new, okay?
No.
It's been a long-standing universal law out there. I think it's one of the maxims of law.
Well, it also would serve as a plea. It could serve as a pleading.
Yeah, but why are we even pleading? Okay? Pleading is begging. Right?
Yep. Well, yes, but it's...
Why are you begging a servant for something?
Because they might be more inclined.
Why not tell the servant what to do?
Waking up.
Well, I don't know.
You destroy the trust. Now the servant has to basically liquidate that trust and give everything back to you per the law.
Yes.
You're breaking up. I don't know what's going on, but we can't hear you. You're breaking
up quite a bit. I can't understand you.
You are too. That's what we're trying to say.
No,
Still
actually, we're fine here. I think we've got a bad line.
Everybody's breaking up.
Then that's if everybody's breaking up, then that means there's something wrong between the server here and your lines on your side.
Yeah, I listened to the last call, and it was pretty well broken up in the recording and everything else, so I don't know.
I'll have to check that out then. We're transcribing that. I guess we'll run into that.
Who was that gentleman that was on the call? Who was that, Mark?
No, I don't think it was Mark.
No, it wasn't me.
It was Robert.
Okay.
So when you're talking about disavowing or disemboweling the beneficiary, you're talking about the beneficial interest holders that have a hold of it currently?
No, I'm talking about you being classified as the beneficiary of this trust. See, they have, in a constructive charitable trust, you have a grantor of the trust. That was you by your signature. You released the credits to the trust. Then you also became the beneficiary of the trust, and you can't be the beneficiary and the executor or the trustee at the same time. Okay?
Very well.
Because that defeats the purpose of a trust. The trustee is supposed to be operating a trust for your benefit in the process. But they created a secondary under these fraudulent contracts that they had, constructive documents, to build a beneficial owner in the process, a fraudulent beneficial owner, giving all the benefits, the profits and the benefits of the trust over to them instead of giving it over to you as the beneficiary. So to destroy this trust, the key player that has the power to destroy the trust is you as the living beneficiary. When you step out of the picture, the trust is destroyed. You're the cornerstone. You just pulled the plug on that whole building and brought it down. Now the trustees have to step in and basically liquidate that trust.
Do you have to have your grantor trust signed up with, your 98 and signed up with? Okay.
That is entirely different. I said that on the last couple of calls. The 98, you are a foreign grantor trust, okay? The trust is basically the de jure lawful treasury out here, and we are a grantor to be able to come into that trust and draw from it. We use the 98 series number as a bank routing number to route the funds out. We will route them over to the post office and have the post office issue us a post office debit card that can be used at any post office worldwide. The post office system was here before the country was here. Before the Constitution was ever established, there was a post office general by the name of Benjamin Franklin. The Roman Empire was built on post offices. The whole country here was built on trading posts out here. They were the post offices for the people to have their mail delivered to them. Everything is done by post. You have a 9-digit post office account number with that zip code on your mailbox. That is now your post office. That's a bank routing number, a post office bank routing number. I've said all along that all 9-digit numbers are bank routing numbers. You have your individual banker's EIN number, and that one you will use to route funds out of the Federal Reserve tariff tax or tariff reserve funds that are held in the Federal Reserve Bank off budget. You will take your receipts in and use your individual banker's EIN number as your bank routing number to route those credits out of that Federal Reserve account.
Patrick, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
All right. I already attempted something like that, right? I want to know.
You have to get the other stuff done first. Okay.
I want to know. Let me ask my question first.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
I want to know this. How can we check to see if the credits have been even routed? That's what I want to know. How can I verify? Who do I go to if I already had a transaction where I routed the credits through my post of office box where I reside, my post of office as my oath of office, as who I am? How do I check that my 9-digit number that they didn't put the funds there, because I think the funds are available, but I need to have a verification?
You haven't got your postal debit card yet, your post office debit card.
I was trying to get something like that because they do have on the post office site, they have something like that, but they try to say that it's only for business owners, but I know that's not true.
Well, you are a business owner. You own your private business. Okay?
Bank.
But you have to come out and stop being out here operating as a rebel, a rebellious insurrection person, and they're not going to give it to you until basically you get rid of all these foreign trust beneficiaries that you have hanging around your neck.
But I did that. I gave it all back to them. I did all that. I filed all that. I gave it back. I did that, and then I asked them to route the credits from the bond that they had posted to my post office box, and I gave them the 4 digits plus the area code, the 9 digits.
Wait, slow down, okay? Have you got confirmation from the Justice Department that those trusts are shut down? Have you gotten the credits? Have you gotten a visit from the men in black?
Nope.
No. You haven't done it fully proper. You have to go through the Justice Department to get this properly done.
Oh, yeah, okay. I agree, because when I notified Homeland Security and I told them what I did, they did tell me, go file at the Justice Department. You're right.
Yeah. So you've got to get it through the Justice Department, that trustee, for your just exchangements. They have to justly liquidate those accounts. And see, in a lot of cases, there's a hell of a lot of drug money and everything else, gun running money, foreign shit that they've confiscated overseas and everything else sitting in these mortmain accounts down there in Puerto Rico. We're just coming in, we're going to claim the reward for turning in these ex-cons, these executor constructive persons the accounts that they were constructed, okay? We turn them into the Justice Department. We terminate and destroy the trust by giving up the foreign beneficiary. Now the Justice Department has to liquidate those trusts in the process. Okay, they will give us 10% reward out of it. They will take out their fees that they need for processing this, for sending the U.S. Marshals down or whatever, for all the time and everything. They have to go through the computer system and basically setting all the records straight. They will take out their fees. The residue will then be deposited into, after it's properly cleaned up, deposited into the American, we the people's Treasury.
But you don't think that you would have to define the entities of the trust by defining them with a declaratory judgment?
No. We basically do it with this $46 green sheet filing, and we are surrendering. We are doing a manumission and surrender of these ex-cons, criminal ex-cons, foreign criminals, in the process.
What green sheet?
Well, that's what I'm working on. Basically, we were into the green sheet.
I thought it was something that I didn't have because I think I got everything. I was like, what green sheet? All right.
Yeah, we were doing a green sheet filing, and it used to be a $39 green sheet filing, miscellaneous filing, in the federal court system years ago, back in 2010 or 2000, whatever, in the process. But now it's $46. Okay. So 4 and 6 comes out to 10, so that's a perfect document.
What's the purpose of the green sheet?
Basically to put it into a separate file. And see, basically we're coming in under the Baby Act, and I forget what else I had on there, but basically this will be an off, just a second, what did I call it? There's a form that basically, let's see, where in the hell I got it?
Off ledger, perhaps?
No.
Off balance.
It's going to be a sealed case matter. It's going to be a $46 miscellaneous criminal Article 3, no foreign bar member, court filing as a sealed case matter.
Great.
In a green jacket filing.
And the green jacket, would that afford one to the aid of the chancellor?
You don't care about that. You're submitting it into them. You're surrendering this all into them. You won't even probably go into this court. They will come and see you.
Very well. That makes sense.
Yeah. Why do you need to go in there? You're surrendering basically the criminals that you're giving them over, so now they have to show up in court, and basically they're just accounts. They're just names and accounts. They will be taken care of in the back room by the U.S. attorneys and the U.S. Marshals, which are basically accountants operating the damn computers in those damn federal courthouses.
But that's the same as doing a declaratory judgment. That's the same thing I just said.
Not necessarily, okay?
Listen to me 1 second. All right. It says the right to apply to a court of equity for direction in the execution of the trust or to obtain a declaratory judgment in order to establish the meaning and intent of the trust instrument. That is exactly what you're trying to do.
Yes, but did you say anything about doing it under the Expatriation Act?
I didn't say that. I'm giving you the definition of what you're trying to do.
I know, but when you said, okay, basically, this is, I don't know. You can do whatever you want, okay? This is what I'm doing.
The right to carry on a separate business for the benefit of the trust given certain conditions. The allowance of remuneration for loss of time under certain circumstances. The right not to compel to by subpoena to review, to produce and show the records in the books to outstanding parties. That's what you're trying to do.
But this is going to shut everything down, okay? No bar attorney can come into this. Okay?
Right. No bar attorney can come into it.
No,
regardless.
Wait. Why are you arguing with me when I'm telling you?
I'm not arguing with you. I'm trying to help you.
This is on the books.
I'm trying to help you. And I agree with you. No bar attorney can come into it regardless. Because you're doing the filing, and the filing is done by you, right? And the declaratory
judgment is doing a notice of motion and manumission of foreign ex-cons.
All right.
That's what we're doing. Under this miscellaneous criminal filing, we're doing a notice of motion and manumission of foreign ex-cons. We're turning them over to the court system, and basically now they have to, and to the U.S. attorneys, and now they have to prosecute those items.
And this is happening in a federal circuit court?
In the federal district court.
District court. Okay, so it may be concurrent equity. And what some are looking for is exclusive equity, exactly what one there just described. Precisely.
This is full equity. You're terminating these trusts. Okay? Forget equity. Take equity totally out of the picture. You want the trust.
You can call it what you want. You can call it what you want to call it. You can call it equity. You can call it anything you want to call it, but everybody's looking for the same thing. And that's what that gentleman just said, and I appreciate that.
What you have to do is you are basically terminating being a foreign agent as a foreign beneficiary. You have to renounce that.
Yep. But you first have to.
That, you're not completing the process.
But you first have to define the duties of what the agent is by declaratory duties. In order for you to get the breakdown and know what the definition of what your duties were to the agent and how the agent played a part in what is owed to the agent, you must declare judgment by decree.
Is that one of the objects of doing the green sheet and everything? Is that one's going to get a decree, correct?
It would be hopefully that you would want that to happen, and you better hope that happens. If you don't get that to happen, you better have a declaratory judgment on top of that green sheet, or you won't get what you're asking for.
Where does declaratory judgment come up from?
I just read it to you. You the one who gave me a Weiss trustee handbook that you guys sent out a long time ago, and I read everything front to back on it, and I just got it from the book that you gave me.
Okay. Basically, declaratory judgment is basically under the commercial law system. Okay.
It's a declaration.
Association bullshit.
Declaration judgment.
All we need to do is basically come in as the living man and basically renounce being the beneficiary. Pretty simple. Don't make it any more complicated than it needs to be. That's all I'm saying. I don't think I'm wrong.
Corey, stop interrupting.
Patrick, I'm asking what you said the first time, what you've been saying on every call. You guys need to start helping, and so you need to start learning how to take the help. And I'm trying to help.
I'm trying to get you to justify why it needs to be done.
I just read it to you. I know you read
that, basically, but read it again. Where does it say that has to be done?
It does.
All right.
It doesn't.
All right. You think it doesn't? You will see. It does have to be done because you have to define the duties to the trust, man.
They already know what their duties are. Okay?
They're going to play stupid with you because they're going to act like they don't know what the duties are, like they've been doing.
No, they can't.
Why can't they?
Because
they
they're
can't.
bound.
Because they are bound by law in this process.
That's true.
They are one of the trustees out here by Constitution, by constructive Constitution. And see, that's where you turn around and you put your claim in with the Inspector General if these guys do not comply with their job title. You don't have to explain it too much to the Inspector General. It's a simple little statement. Basically, these guys are basically aiding and abetting in violation of the 13th or the 14th Amendment, insurrection against the country and against the people. These U.S. attorneys are basically working in the Justice Department. They're supposed to be acting as the local district, along with the court, trustees over these trusts. They're the judicial trustees, basically under that English statutory law out here. That has been taught in every legal school out here, because basically the document that I got about that English statutory law and about the private or the private trustee or the Public Trustee Act of 1906. Basically, those two documents came out of the Stanford Law Library. So these bar attorneys know those items. But we have to force them to take off that bar and now operate as an American trustee, judicial trustee. And if they don't, then we will file the complaints in with the Inspector Generals that these guys are not operating properly in their American constitutional office.
But didn't we try to do something like that before? We filed some complaints with the Inspector Generals before.
Did you have full faith and credit of the United States when you did so?
You have full faith and credit unless you authenticate your birth certificate.
We don't have to go begging for full faith and credit from no damn stinking Secretary of State out here.
Who's begging?
Or I have some damn document re-apostilled when it's already validated. That birth certificate is validated by a state seal and by a federal seal on it.
It's just like this. Like you said, we don't have to be asking for that. The basics of this is just like you said, you've been teaching this, and I got this from you. On the money it says, "In God we trust," right? Right?
No, on the
That's
federal.
what the money says, okay?
Right.
And
so we gotta disresolve the trust.
Stop. You brought up a good point. In God we trust.
Right.
Who's the God?
Who's the trust? That's the point. I ain't talking about who's the fucking God. Who's the trust?
No. Who is the God? Who in God we trust? You are the God. You are the grantor. They are
and who is the trust?
you.
Who is the trust?
The trust is then basically by constructive charitable trust, they have created you as the beneficiary, not created. They have constructed you to be the beneficiary, the lawful beneficiary. They also constructed an executor in the process, a monomain account, holding the letters of credit that you entrusted as you were the God and the grantor to this trust. Then you have the trustee sitting over here, which is the Justice Department in the process.
Now, who are they? When you say they, who are they?
The Justice Department is the trustees.
No, you said they constructed the constructive trust. They constructed you as the trustee. They,
okay.
Who are they?
The state of Iowa, basically, when they set up the driver's license, they set up a charitable trust for their benefit. The beneficial owners are the ones that created these constructive trusts. The bank, when they gave you a loan, they set up a constructive trust. They became the beneficial owner of that trust for all the assets that you deposit in with them. They became the beneficial owner. You were supposed to be the true beneficiary, the lawful beneficiary in the process, but these were all done as a foreign trust, which basically is in violation of the laws of the land here in this country, because it's it's
a violation of the laws of God, not the laws of the land of God.
Corey, stop interrupting.
You are the fucking God, okay? The law of the land is
say that then.
Okay?
Say that then.
Okay, I just
Don't
said
say
it.
it's a violation of the laws of the land, because you're confusing people. We need to be clear. I'm trying to fine-tune you and trying to help.
The laws of the land are what we, the people, set out as the laws, okay? Not all this codes of law. That is not the law of the land. That is foreign law. That is colorable law. That is constructive law.
Agreed.
Okay.
Okay, Corey, you keep interrupting people. Let them finish their sentences before you respond.
No, go ahead.
We're having a discussion. We're just having a discussion. That's what we're doing. That's what he asked us to do. He asked us to do this. I heard him. He said, listen, you guys need to come forth. So I'm coming
I'm
forth.
asking for it.
Right.
I'm not
He asked that. And I love him enough. I love him enough to come forth.
Okay. But we can't understand you when everybody's talking at once. You jump in while someone else is talking.
You can understand me, Thomas. You just want to control it, and I'm not going to allow you to control it, because I love Patrick enough to come forth and not just sit there and be like, yeah,
Okay, you guys, we're going to lose the whole context of this if you keep this up. Let's keep it one person, finish your speech, your sentence, and then the next
when you're not sitting directly in the room with the other person, you can't see whether they're talking right away. And sometimes the phones are a little delayed, so basically you've got to give and take on that. Basically, if we sit and wait for one another, basically we're going to miss out on the whole damn deal. We'll just be sitting waiting for the next person to talk. So basically I have no problem in doing what we're doing right now.
Okay.
Thank you. And I love you, Patrick, and I'm just telling you that. And that's the only reason I'm doing this, because I love everybody on the call, and I'm trying to make sure that we all reach the destination. And if I got a question to ask, and if I don't understand, I'm going to keep asking the question until I do.
Yeah. And basically, I appreciate it, because basically the more in some cases, when I get into a discussion like this, I learn a lot. Sometimes not right up front. I'll sit down, think about it, and basically try and make the correction before the next call if need be. But I think that what we need to do right now is keep this as simple as possible. It had to be simple, okay? Jesus basically kept everything simple. Daniel kept everything simple. Moses kept everything simple in the process. And all we have to do, we know who we are now, okay? And we know how to destroy this item, these trusts that have been created or constructed out here, not created, because something that was constructed can't ever create anything. They can only construct another room onto the house or whatever. Okay, and that's all they're doing.
And I'm sorry, Patrick. And as long as we continue to use them, they're going to continue to roll on.
Yeah, they're going to continue building and building and building more and more bullshit.
So I can
stop them.
So I can see the release of those things that you're talking about.
Yeah, and we just turn it all. I've got 10 manumissions that are going in with this green jacket, and then I'm also going to file a copy of my christening document showing that I am both the grantor and basically the beneficiary, the American beneficiary of the de jure treasury of the country. Okay? See, we're tied into that de jure trust, the American treasury. We are basically a grantor. We can grant the funds out of the treasury over to our beneficiary, or like Patrick Devine, and that will go over to a debit card. And when we get out of this system, we will also be in contact with the delivery system, which will be the post office out here. I knew that they had to come into play. And that's where we will get our debit card, not from the Treasury Department or the Department of the Treasury. We will get it from the post office, because that's where the delivery of the mail comes in. And the mail cannot be stopped. And see, that's commerce. Just like in World War II, it was the Postmaster General that declared war upon Japan because commerce between Hawaii and the Philippines had been disrupted. After 72 hours, 3 days. Roosevelt didn't declare the war. It was the Postmaster General. Even a lot of the stuff out in the Wild West, when the Pony Express got attacked by the Indians, okay? The cavalry couldn't go out there and protect all the citizens. They had to wait until the mail delivery got disrupted, then they could intervene. These are facts.
Well, wasn't the postmaster the one that declared the war?
Huh?
Isn't the postmaster the one who declares war?
Yes, because commerce is disrupted, and commerce is basically the processing of the monetary system, the banking funds around the country. So when the banking funds are disrupted, commerce is disrupted, and basically you can't go. The people can't operate. It's all of everything out here in this country. All these constitutions were banking constitutions. We set up a banking government to protect and give us equal justice, just exchangement, a place of storage in the bank, and then a delivery of the funds from the bank. That's all they were supposed to be. And basically then they were supposed to be able to do international banking in the process. They weren't supposed to be doing all this other bullshit that they're doing. Because all this other bullshit, ever since 1871, has been totally in violation of the Constitution out here, operating under this British East India Company, resurrected East India Company, known as the copyrighted United States, Temple Bar copyrighted United States Corporation or Company. And that's the company that Hillary bitch Clinton wants to be in charge of. She's just a president of another damn foreign bank. When we, the people, stand up and revoke being or disavow being a foreign beneficiary of these constructive trusts, we will send these foreign bankers home. We will destroy them. We will destroy this Jezebel banking system. And see, that's also why you need to go to the Justice Department, because you need to go into the witness protection program away from the protections of these foreign bankers that will be probably coming after you.
What exactly do you mean by that, Patrick?
Huh?
What exactly do you mean by that, Patrick?
Well, basically, I don't think these foreign bankers can find Sigourney, Iowa, so that's why I'm still here.
Hey, that was a great joke, Patrick. I love that.
I'm out here in no man's land. This is God's land. And basically, by the weather that's gone on this last year, basically, I think it is, because basically all the storms seem to go right around us, the massive storms and everything. So somebody's living right here.
That's good to hear.
But I think it's just, we just simply need to, we basically notify the first, we send in that Social Security into the U.S. Attorney's Office. Place him on notice. We'll notify the U.S. Attorney, the Justice Department Attorney General, that basically that attorney, give them the certified mail receipt number so that they can track it and say, okay, yeah, it was delivered. Okay, and then basically they can follow up with that U.S. attorney and say, hey, what's going on here? This guy's claiming that basically this has been not properly processed in the process. We know that basically some of these things have been taken care of in court. A couple in North Carolina, they were in a federal tax court process. They turned around and gave a simple document surrendering the beneficiary over to the court. Okay? They didn't turn it right over to the prosecuting attorney because he was basically operating under a bar card. They turned it into the court, basically that through that judge, and basically the only thing that he could do was basically dismiss the case out of his court, because basically as a bar court, they can't handle a trust that has no beneficiary. The bar court attorneys and everything, if there's no beneficiaries, they cannot process. They're going to have to switch hats.
I thought the bar courts weren't, the beneficiary wasn't cognizable at law.
No. See, these bar attorneys are basically, they are there as the trustees of these constructive charitable trusts. Okay? That's what these bar attorneys and these bar courts and everything all about. They're the trustees over these trusts, these contrasts. So when you turn around and you destroy the trust by renouncing or revoking being or disavowing yourself as being the beneficial owner of that trust, the lawful beneficial owner, that trust is now destroyed. Now they're going to have to go into the back room, switch hats, and basically liquidate those trusts, those foreign trusts. They're going to have to go out and do all the paperwork to go out and do extraditions from all the different states' accounts, and even the extradition from Puerto Rico to bring those funds that are down there in the Secretary of the Treasury accounts in Puerto Rico back ashore. They will send out the U.S. Marshals or whoever they need to.
So Patrick.
Yeah, go ahead.
How would this apply in a county court, say, with a corporation in a landlord-tenant type issue? If that was worked in conjunction with one's manumission?
You turn in the trust. What trust are they charging you under? The driver's license trust, the certificate of title to the vehicle trust, the Social Security trust. What trust are they charging you under?
Well, it's going to be the Social Security trust.
Okay, you turn around, and it could be a mortgage or whatever too, a bank loan or whatever. Okay, those are all individual trusts too. Now, in a lot of cases, they are tied back to the Social Security trust, but they're all state or local trust in the process. So when you renounce being the beneficiaries of those trusts, you just destroyed the trust. Now that court is going to have to process that through the Attorney General's office of the state.
You probably don't even have to pay for any filings in that case, because you could file your information directly into the case, correct?
You can send it all up to the Attorney General's office and say, here, I'm surrendering all these beneficiaries per the Expatriation Act 249, and also in compliance with the Section 3 and 4 of the 14th Amendment. I am no longer going to be a foreign beneficiary of this trust.
Now, if this was a civil action, could it be done in a civil action just the same, a corporation versus a man? Well, versus the trust, obviously.
Well, civil action, what are you talking about? Okay, did you harm somebody?
No, just a landlord-tenant issue.
Huh?
A landlord-tenant issue.
In what regards? Paying the rent?
Yes.
Basically, you need to turn around and make the payment, okay? Do you have some of these cases, you're dealing with mom and pa, they don't have a trust assigned to these items. They're living from hand to mouth, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to understand which scenario are you operating in. Are you operating under a trust, or are you operating under a hand-to-mouth contract?
Oh, it's definitely a hand-to-mouth contract.
Okay.
I don't know all the details of this case, but I'm just someone I'm helping out that it's like a single owner. I'm the president. It's my corporation. It's my building type of lease.
Hey, can I say something real quick?
Sure.
I'm just gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something that I did. I dealt with a situation like that. Okay, so like what Patrick said, he's right. You just got to pay the bill. So
right,
I took the bill that was issued to me, right, and I went to court, and I issued it back into the case, got a certified copy from the clerk, right? And when they told me how I was going to pay the bill, I presented it to the judge. And I signed my name on the back without my Social Security, and I gave it to him. And it was done.
You know what they did?
They took it out of my account.
They basically went and took that receipt, okay, and you basically authorized that as the authorized representative for the executor of the trust, the Social Security Trust, and they went and drew the funds from the reserve account at the Federal Reserve Bank.
Right, and when I went in there to get some more help, nobody would help me because somebody was in trouble when I did it.
Right. And see, they don't want you knowing that, okay? That's why we have to come out of the system, because some of these things may only work one time before they shut the thing down, okay?
Right, and it only cost me $25.
Yeah.
And you probably wrote the Social Security number down without the dashes, right?
Without the dashes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. In most all your routing numbers and everything, when they go through the system, they really don't have the dashes in the system, okay? When they punch those numbers into the wiring system, they don't punch a dash in. They just put the 9-digit routing number in there.
And I can say that the prosecuting attorney, she was furious.
Uh-huh. But see, you pay those receipts, and then basically you turn around, and you can turn around, and if you have your individual banker's EIN, okay, then you can come in and claim the reimbursement of those items by going to the Attorney General's office using your individual banker's routing number. To be reimbursed for all these receipts that we've been holding on here, trying to figure out, and basically we've sent some of them in, but basically never got anything out. We had to figure out what is going on here, but we have to get rid of being a beneficiary in a foreign trust, because when you read that Section 4 of the 14th Amendment, they do not have to release the bounty or anything to us per sentence 1 if we're still operating in a foreign insurrection trust. See, we're operating right now under sentence 2 in Section 4, when we should really be operating under this first sentence in Section 4. Then when we get all of our beneficial owner or beneficiaries terminated, now when we turn the bills into the Justice Department, they are going to have to justly process those things through the system to draw the funds out of the Federal Reserve Fund that's sitting there off budget, sort of like the CAFR funds at the state. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes, that makes 100% sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You said we're operating under sentence 2 of Section 4 of that 14th Amendment, and we're supposed to operate under which one?
Under sentence 1.
Oh, yeah, sentence 1. Okay.
And see, when you're operating under sentence 2, and you basically do your emancipation of your or your manumission of your and basically destroy being the beneficiary, and then turn over your executor accounts of the trust. And see, then all of the fraud that basically these beneficial owners out here created. They're all operating in fraud, and what does it say at the very end of that Section 4? Those things will be void, and they're not going to get paid because they've already been paid.
Right.
They already drew the funds out of the Federal Reserve Bank.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because when I did that, you know what the prosecutor said to the judge? She said, Judge, I was wondering if I could still put in my claim to get paid. That's what she said. That was her last sentence out of her mouth. She wanted to get paid, but she knew that I only paid the amount of the judgment.
Right, but see, if the trust is still there, she is still operating as a trustee, and a trustee can put a claim in. See, she just admitted she was a trustee.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, we don't need to do a discretionary write-up. They know who they are. We just don't know who they are. Now we do know who they are, and basically now everybody's on the same playing field. We just have to force their hands in the process, and basically we come in with clean hands, and if they want to have dirty hands, they're going to go down. They're holding the turd.
You just described the variance in law, Patrick.
Yeah, it's a shitty deal, isn't it?
Yeah, you just described like what Jesus said in Matthew, you enter not the kingdom and you show not the way, because that lawyer knew the way.
Mm-hmm.
And she ain't going to show anybody.
Yeah, when you stand up in court and basically, I tried to get the damn county prosecutor up on the witness stand. Basically, the judge wouldn't allow it because I said, well, basically, who better knows about these contracts than this damn county prosecutor? He's wanting to prosecute him. I want him on the witness stand. I got a couple of questions to ask you. Well, they knew damn well that they didn't want him up there because they didn't know what the hell questions I was going to ask. And I would have torn him to shreds. Even though he's 6'6", and basically I'm only 6 foot, I still would have torn him down. David and Goliath. My little pebble would have brought him down to his knees. See, our little pebble is we throw in to the pot that we're getting rid of our foreign beneficiary position. Now, without a lawful living beneficiary, this trust gets destroyed. And then the trustees have to liquidate it. They can put their charges in, and that's what they will be able to do. They'll be able to put their processing fees in, but that's all they're going to get. They're not going to get any kickbacks from the beneficial owners anymore.
The only thing I didn't understand is when I asked the judge, what is my reimbursement remedy, right? And he replied, I asked him several times, and then he finally replied, he said to me, you can put in a bid bond.
No, see, they want bonds, and basically we don't do bonds, okay?
Right. I was like, what is that? And then he quickly got off the stand and went in the back.
Yeah. See, they want you to re-contract under a new charitable trust. When you put another bond up, you're going to give a signature of credit release. That's when you're consenting. You're consenting into another letter of credit for that bond, and you're creating a new charitable trust. That's the game that they play. just like going in the casino. Basically, what do? They see you're winning at this game. Well, they come over and give you a token or something like this to go over and play this other game that's rigged. And you think, oh, hell, I'm winning. Basically, I'll go over there and I'll play this other game because I got this free token. Just ask me. I've been in quite a few casinos, and I know how they all operate. And this is the biggest casino out here. And the games are all rigged in their favor. But you can basically destroy the games by pulling the plug on them.
I have a question about that, Patrick.
Yeah.
You described the beneficiaries, those foreign beneficiaries, as you want to manumit them, and I believe it's Pomeroy's. He talks about shadow titles. He talks about all those ones: driver's license, Social Security, even including the birth certificate is a shadow title. What's your take on? Because that's where all the other ones were created from. Was that registration or that registration?
No, they weren't. That birth certificate, and this is the misinformation that everybody has out here about that birth certificate. That is your document of inheritance, right of inheritance into your Treasury. The Social Security account was derived from having a birth certificate here in this country or a naturalization document here in this country, which basically says, yes, you have access to the Treasury. Now, they take you by a signature to issue a letter of credit draw from the Treasury. Okay? But that birth certificate is your right of inheritance to the Treasury. Okay? It's not a foreign trust. It's an American trust, per se.
So you're saying we don't have to sign anything? Is that what you're saying?
We won't sign anything unless we do a draw with the birth certificate, turn that into a negotiable instrument to do a draw from the Treasury and transfer that over by our 98 series number over to our post office debit card when we get that.
Right.
But we have to come out of the foreign system first.
Right.
Do you have literature on obtaining the banker's EIN and the 98?
Yes, it's up on the site. Tom can tell you where to find that on the site. There should be a folder that basically talks about the EINs. Tom even had a audio that he basically did with a bunch of people going over getting the 98 and the individual banker's EIN. I posted up
last year around April.
My document showing the template of what my summary sheet of when I got my individual banker's EIN back in April or May, whatever the hell it was, out there. And then the 98 series number, you just need the phone number and you need to call up Philadelphia. So you're going to the Philadelphia IRS, which is the de jure IRS of the country, that is sitting over the de jure Treasury. Not over a foreign treasury, but the de jure Treasury. You are the foreign grantor because you are the grantor to all these foreign constructive trusts. That's why you are a foreign grantor. But see, you need to have that 98 series number to do a banking draw out of the Treasury over to to your post office debit card once you get out of the system. And then you'll have your individual banker's EIN to turn in all of your receipts into the Justice Department, either the U.S. Attorney General's office or to the state Attorney General if you have CAFR funds that basically are due to you.
What did you call that? You called it tracker funds?
CAFR fund.
Oh, CAFR. Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember. Yeah. Thank you.
Now, the CAFR funds, would they be claimed from the state attorney general's office?
The state attorney general's office. If you have a state bill that basically you pay out of your back pocket, you will turn it in and get reimbursed from the CAFR fund. They've already borrowed the money out here, but we were the source of all the funds. All these funds are being held off budget. All of these funds are owed to we the people. And if we don't claim those funds, they're going to turn around and use them to our demise.
So they don't have to pay us back.
Yeah, and there's no taxes on this. So all your sales tax and everything else that you paid in, basically you have a claim for all that state sales tax to be reimbursed from the state CAFR funds.
But we have a claim for everything that we spend to be reimbursed anyway.
Yes, but you can only process your claims once you get out of being a foreign beneficiary.
But that's next week.
Huh?
But that's next week, right?
Not cheap.
I said
no,
that is next week.
I still didn't hear you.
Next week we're going to have that under control.
72 hours.
Yeah, we will basically take control, and basically now we will have the U.S. Attorney's Office working for us, not the other way around. We won't be going begging them. We will be ordering them. But see, if you're standing in a capacity as a foreigner, you have to beg these government officials. The Prince and the Pauper type scenario. Moby Dick. All of these different movies that basically nobody wants to watch. Nobody read the damn books or anything like that. The Merchant of Venice out here. Twice full, double jeopardy. Basically, they were offering to pay in the Merchant of Venice. The guy refused it. He wanted his bond. He wanted his pound of flesh. But then when it came down to it, that basically he could not cause one drop of blood, the contract was there, now destroyed. The same scenario holds true today. They can only go after a constructive person. And when you give up being the lawful beneficiary, you have now stepped out of the picture, and they can't go any further. Because now they would be actually harming the living American in the process. And these foreign courts and all these courts out here are operating as foreign courts. They know that they can't do that. Even the Justice Department, Inspector General's office, under identity theft, references one of Shakespeare's plays about identity theft. You can go in and check that one out.
Okay.
Shakespeare or Beacon tried to enlighten the English people way back when they were starting to set up all this constructive trust system in England as their way around the Magna Carta. Way before they started the East India Company, which was another means to get around the laws of the land. The international laws of nations. Okay, any other questions? Comments?
Well,
yeah,
I just have... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, Patrick. You said that we're doing this to get away from the bar attorneys that took they're committing insurrection and rebellion, right?
Right.
What if you were in a place where they don't have bar, they don't go by the bar, they don't have bar cards? What would you do then?
Basically, they've all got bar cards in these courts.
In the state of Wisconsin, every attorney does not have to have a bar card.
Every attorney that basically is in
you can be an attorney in the state of Wisconsin. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. They either have to have a bar card or they have to have a bond of liability. Okay?
You listening on speaker?
Isn't that right? If they don't have a bar card, they still got to have a bond of liability, right?
Right. So I'm just thinking, how would I use the fact that they're committing insurrection and rebellion if they just have a bond and they don't have a bar card?
The bond itself is basically acting as their protection. It's an insurance policy. Insurance is another foreign instrument. It's a foreign banking instrument. Totally fraud. And most all attorneys have to pass the bar before they can basically operate in the systems out here.
I know, but in this system, they don't have to pass the bar.
Boy, that's unusual.
You can look it up. You don't have to have, in the state of Wisconsin, you can be a practicing attorney. All you have to do is get a Juris Doctrine, a JD degree. As long as you don't leave outside of the state, you can be de jure.
Okay. That means that basically you can hire that attorney without a bar card. But he's not going to do too many things. He ain't going to sit as the county prosecutor. He ain't going to sit as a attorney in basically a federal court system in Wisconsin. All those guys have to have bar cards.
Corey, when you're speaking now, you're all right. But when you stop speaking, you must have your speakers on because a huge echo is going on, and we really can't understand Patrick.
I need to add something here. In Pennsylvania, our Attorney General has been temporarily disbarred, and she's still acting as Attorney General. Huh. I'm wondering if that gives us a chance to slip something through with her not actually having a law license at the time. At this time.
Yeah, see, all of these guys are operating in violation of the law anyway because they're all operating in a foreign capacity. Okay? All of these senators, all these congressmen out here, they are in violation of the Constitution. I've said this numerous times over. Okay? But unless the people stand up and get them out of office, the people are condoning them being lawful office holders. Okay? See, a congressman and a senator, and even in most of the state constitutions, it says you can't be an inhabitant of the office and run for the office at the same time. That means you have to sit out one term. That was put into the Constitution so that the bankers would not control these congressmen and senators out here to get all these fraudulent laws passed. But if the people stand aside and keep putting these nitwits in, thinking that they're valid officers out here, you're going to get what you reap. You're going to get shit upon. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you don't want to get rid of that Attorney General out of the process, then basically you're going to get what you reap out of her. Anybody there?
Yep, we're here.
Patrick, I have a question, Patrick. I had put together all of those different I thought my packet ready, and I had put together all those mortmains, with all those fraudulent driver's license and passport and all that, with all the pictures and all that, put it all together. But if I'm understanding you correctly, what you just put in was not all that. You only put in just those other two documents?
I just sent in the Social Security one into the Inspector General. Or not to the Inspector, to the U.S. Federal District Attorney's, U.S. Attorney's Office. Okay?
Right.
Okay.
Get them to start on that. And basically that is the mastermind, okay? The master ex-con in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Executor. Constructive man or person, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But he's a dead construction, okay? And all constructions are dead, okay? A building is basically a dead entity. It's not living, okay? And that's all they can do is construct something dead in the process.
Correct.
And when we come in and basically we revoke being the beneficiary, and also we come in as the grantor, so we're coming in as we in the process, submitting this document, so we're coming in as two out here in the process.
Okay.
And we are basically turning in this person or this trust as a treason, an act of treason, also in the process. And then we basically gave them 48 hours, and I turned around and contacted the Inspector General of the Justice Department and said that, hey, basically I haven't heard anything out of this U.S. attorney. He's had 48 hours to contact me because I turned in this ex-con. What the hell's going on? I want this ex-con out of my household.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
And see, that's what I mean. Basically, we start turning in the real criminals who are basically these constructions and basically say, hey, we want this top floor off of this building.
Right. So when you don't hear, then that's what you're talking about is turning the rest of them in on the green filing.
Right, as a miscellaneous $46 green jacket filing into the court. And then we will also copy to the U.S. Attorney's Office and CC the U.S. Marshals and the Inspector General for the Justice Department. That we gave all of this over to them. Now, they have 5 days to basically get us out of the system and put us into the witness protection program and give us all our new IDs and our new bank account, post office, bank, debit card.
Right. Okay. I was just making sure because I'd done all those other ones and I'm like, whoa. That's not what you did on the first mailing.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Yeah, and basically I thought about it and I said, wait a minute, we don't need to go into the bankruptcy court because they're all operating in fraud anyway. And over here in the state of Iowa, basically we don't have a male judge in the bankruptcy court, so I wasn't going to go there anyway.
Right.
After I thought about it, I said, why in the hell would I want to go? Well, I'm not going to say.
Right, I understand.
I don't want to offend too many women. Okay.
That's okay.
You got to remember, Patrick, she only has jurisdiction over the legal fiction. She doesn't have jurisdiction over the man.
Yeah, see, she couldn't go to the other side anyway, okay?
Ah, I see.
Yeah. Where the guy could turn around and take off his bar card, just like that one judge out in Idaho there did. He took off his black robe and put on his white robe with a purple sash and came back into the court and then didn't even pay any attention to the prosecuting attorney because the prosecuting attorney didn't have clean hands now, and he had a bar card, so he had dirty hands. But the defendant had clean hands now, so basically now the judge had to approach him. He also had to act like Pilate and wash his hands too of the matter. See, when we look back and do a comparison to what basically happened 2,000 years ago in all the parables and all the stories, we find out that basically that's where the answer was all along. And see, that's why King James basically tried to rewrite the Bible to write out a bunch of that stuff and basically mess with it so that basically they could still put in their trust, constructive trust into play.
Question about the Inspector Generals. Who's above the Inspector Generals in case they don't comply with a request or an order?
Basically, we will then go to the trustees. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And who would that be? The U.S. trustees?
Well, the Postmaster General the U.S. Attorney General. Just like at the state, you go to the state Attorney General, basically, if they don't comply. But see, we will be writing up the documents in a different capacity now, showing that we have revoked or disavowed being the foreign beneficiary. Now that Attorney General and that Postmaster General, now they are working for us in the process. But more than likely, once you get this into the Inspector General's hands, just like what Harold and I found out when we made our fraudulent and identity theft claims into the Social Security Inspector General, things happened. You have to have faith and belief that there are lawful people out here that will make things happen. And see, we knew that basically it was a very small group that would be enforcing these items. Because everything out here is done so compartmentalized that even some of these attorney general or U.S. attorneys and the local people that work underneath them, the county prosecutors and everything else, they don't actually know everything. And even the judges, and over every judge, all the way up the line, they go all the way up to a senior judge that basically knows the real law of the land of this country. And they will enforce it when need be, when called upon. But we have to come in with totally clean hands and not be a beneficiary, a foreign beneficiary in any of these foreign constructive trusts. We can't be out here operating in a state of insurrection or rebellion against the Constitution of the land. Anything else?
Just Congress can do that, right? Act in insurrection rebellion. Just Congress can act in insurrection and rebellion against the land, because violating the Constitution and the rest of the stuff. So if that's the legislative branch, then that's 1/3 that's not complying with the law of the land. The judicial system, if they require you to have some sort of insurrection or rebellion item, such as whether passports or state ID, government issued photo ID, just to get into the court, try to get justice. That's another 1/3 of the branch. So that's 2/3 against your ability to get justice to the laws of the land. So it can.
Okay. From what I'm gathering, from what you're saying, you're scared about the system that basically, when we come out of the system, we're still going to have to be complying with them. No. We will basically go onto a green sheet ourselves in the process that we are basically an American citizen out here, and that we will be under the protections of the de jure government, away from these foreign entities out here, and we will basically be green sheeted, or basically like in the movie Fire with Fire, okay, Jeremy kept his same first name, but he got a new last name because he can always change it back to his original name when he dies, okay? So basically, you can operate under any last name you want, but your first name was given to you, so they didn't take that away from him, okay? In the movie.
Yes, they did.
And basically, he operated under, he was a ghost, okay, in the process. He wasn't on their records. any longer. He was removed from the foreign records. And that's what you will be. You will be removed from the foreign records. You will be given a debit card out here from the post office, so you will still be able to buy and sell anything that you need. What more do you need?
I need all the insurrection and rebellion removed from the law of the land to give it credence.
Yeah, but then basically you can turn around and start putting things out there, helping the charities, putting ads in the paper or whatever, as an unknown columnist or whatever, trying to wake up your fellow mankind. You'll have more money than you know what to do with. You go out and print out 1,000 flyers and just drop them off everywhere. Get people to start waking up. Ask the question, what does inhabitant mean? Why are these senators in there for 25 years, 30 years? Straight through. People know that there's something wrong. They just need a little push in the right direction. And a lot of these patriots out here have been pushing in the wrong direction.
Wow.
Well, isn't it true once you take a oath of office, your U.S. citizenship is relinquished, so they wouldn't be an inhabitant?
That is true, but they're still operating in violation of the Constitution.
No doubt.
Yeah, because they're a foreigner sitting in an American office. And basically, you're not supposed to be a foreigner in that judgeship. See, that's what these judges definitely know, that basically they can be taken down because they're sitting in that judgeship in a foreign court trying to appear that they're a valid constitutional court, state constitutional court, or whatever. So, yes, they are in violation of the 14th Amendment, Section 3. You have to basically make that known when you go into court. And see, that's what basically that guy out in Idaho had to make that judge fully aware that basically he was in violation of the 14th Amendment, Section 3, and he had to change clothes if he wanted to sit on that bar, on that pedestal. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it had to be something very simple. You have to know the right laws. You don't have to know all these codes of law. You don't reference any codes of law. They don't apply to us.
Not only that, they're copyrighted.
Yeah. Well, they're constructed laws. They're They're laws of con man or a con trust law. They're a con game. All for them to make their gambling profits.
Confidence schemes.
Yeah.
There's that word again.
Yeah. C-O-N, first three letters.
Yeah.
And just
Patrick,
like constraint. Huh? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I agree that you should not use any laws, right? I agree. And I'm going to give you one. Not a law. I'm going to give you what I think you should use, right? And I'm going to read you something. And this is for everybody, right? It says, at the completion of the temple, The stone which the builders had rejected became the headstone of the corner. The earth is the Lord, and the fulfillment thereof the world, and they that dwell therein. For he that hath founded it upon the sea, and established it upon the flood, who shall ascend to the hills of the Lord, or who shall stand in his holy place? He that hath clean hands and a pure heart, who have not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor swore deceitfulness.
Right. And see, that's what you have to do. You have to you have to come in with clean hands, and the only way you can have clean hands is to get rid of being a foreign beneficiary.
And it says, he shall receive the blessing from the Lord, and the righteous from the God of his salvation. This is the generations of them that seek him, that seek thy face.
And see, basically, the Lord and the God is your spirit, and you will feel all that much better. You will love yourself in return. You will love your human body back, because you will not be under any false pressures or anything causing you mental anguish or anything. That basically, mental anguish is basically one of the biggest destroyers of the body.
Okay.
Definitely causes dis-ease.
Yep. Yeah, basically, if people really read and understood all the stuff that's in the Bible, this is all a reiteration over and over again of the same scenario. And when you come out of the system, and basically you become a hidden in plain sight, you're just going to feel so much greater about yourself. Basically, you can go out and do whatever you want. You're not under any constraining controls any longer. You just can't cause harm out here in the process.
Nor damage.
Yeah.
Those are two of the elements of a lawful cause of action against you.
See, that's basically what Jesus said, okay? Love thy Lord thy God. And basically, that is you. You have to know how to love yourself first. Then you can love your neighbor, which is the second commandment. And basically, then everything else falls into place.
Which falls into line. Charity starts at home first.
Right. You have to love yourself. That's where the first charity comes in, is loving yourself. And you have to have faith and belief in yourself. See, everybody out here has been operating and believing in the wrong things, thinking that that's where their salvation was at, thinking that some hocus-pocus guy out in Never Land is going to come down and pat them on the back and redeem them and save them from all this bullshit. No, it's you yourself. You have to save yourself.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, just like basically one of the guys was telling a story about this guy that was out in the lake and he was drowning, and basically a log came by, and basically he said, no, I'm going to wait for the Lord, and basically he'll save me, he'll resurrect me. And basically then a boat came along and basically offered to take him aboard, and he said, no, I'm going to wait for God. And basically turned around, and finally he ended up going up to the pearly gates, and Peter asked him, well, why didn't you grab onto the log? Why didn't you do this? Well, I was waiting for the Lord to do that for me. He said, well, basically, you can continue waiting.
Yeah, I know a guy. I know that guy, I think. Yeah, I think I know that guy. I talked to him. Yeah, I know him.
See, that's the way so many of these guys out here. Oh, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. I'm going to get resurrected. I'm on the right path. No. As long as you're operating with the devil, you're going to go down with the devil. The devil shows no mercy.
Well, many thanks, Patrick.
Appreciate that.
Sorry.
I just want to say I appreciate that. And by anybody that got offended by this call, like, I don't do this for entertainment purposes by no means necessary. I do this for the blood.
Yeah, we're trying to basically take the blood away from the vampires out here that have been sucking the life out of us all these years.
So Patrick's got some garlic for us.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else?
Great call, Patrick. This is an awesome call, you guys. Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Patrick.
Okay, you guys have a good night. We'll talk to you later.
You too, Patrick. Take care.
All right, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick.